So today we have a very extensive Black Series review for you today, guys. So we are going to get a look at the Kruiil Black Series 6-inch figure. We're also going to get a look at the speeder bike, Scout Trooper, and Child. And then we're also going to get a look at Kreef Karga. And then we're also going to get a look at Moff Gidion. And then also, guys, if you want to skip the review, there will be a timestamp in the comments that will take you directly to the diorama. So please look out for that if you wish to skip the review. And then again, this is going to be a lengthy review, so we're going to try to go through this as quickly as possible. So let's go ahead and get started. So as usual for our Black Series boxes, we have our Star Wars Black Series logo across the top of each one of our boxes here. We also have the Star Wars Mandalorian banner across all 4 of our boxes here. And then we also have the name of our prospective figures on each one of the boxes, as I had named earlier. Very cool, very awesome. Our Hasbro logo, 4 and up, and our warning labels across. This is how your portrait will appear. Very cool. So of course you have your Mandalorian, your Imperial Stormtrooper, your Incinerator Trooper, your Armorer, your Din Djarin with Child, Kreef Karga, Kruiil Moff Gidion, and the Remnant Trooper. So really cool and very awesome. Again, one of my favorite parts of the new boxes is the side portrait, where you can line all the boxes together and have that portrait. That is very, very cool. And then of course for your Mandalorian Biker Scout, you have 3 different illustrations there as well. As for the back of our boxes, for your Kreef Karga, you have your depiction of Kreef Karga and a small blurb on Kreef Karga. And then for Krill, again, you have your illustration for Krill and your blurb, Moff Gidion illustration and your blurb. And then of course for your speeder bike, Scout Trooper, and Child, you have your blurb and full illustration of that particular figure as well, which obviously comes with the stand and also comes with a target accessory for your speeder bike Scout Trooper. So very, very cool stuff there. All right, guys, so now we're going to take our figures out of the boxes. We're going to get a look at all of the features on each one of our figures, all of the accessories, detail, and the articulation on each one of our figures, guys. Again, more than likely, this is going to be a very lengthy review. All right, you guys, so we have our figures out of the box, and first impressions, I like all of the figures. I do have a couple of issues with the Krill and a fairly big issue with the Moff Gidion figure. Kreef Karga, very, very cool, straight out of the box. And then of course with the Biker Scout, very, very cool, no issues so far with that particular figure, but I will cover the issue that I have with the Krill and the Moff Gidion figure as we go through this review, guys. So those are my first impressions. But we have our figures out of the box, and they are very, very cool looking figures. We're gonna start here with our Kreef Karga figure, and then we're gonna go down the line. So let's get us a very good look at Kreef Karga. So getting you guys a close look at your Kreef Karga figure, 6-inch scale. Very, very cool looking figure. I love the design of the figure. I love his outfit. He just looks really, really good. Truly amazing. I love the gloves. You have the over-the-shoulder cape, which only covers one shoulder. And then the additional strap, which has a buckle there, which is really cool. And the buckle is made to look like a metal material, so that's awesome. He has 2 weapons and 2 holsters for those weapons, so that's cool. And I like the texture of his pants, as well as the leathery looking texture of the vest there, so that's very cool. Get a look at his boots. So he is really, really nice looking. And there's a look at his weapon there in the holster. So that's cool. And we're gonna get a look at his weapons as well. Very unusual looking weapon. Never even noticed it until I saw this figure. And then getting you guys a closer look at the face sculpt for your figure. So it is a fairly decent face sculpt there, guys. Not too bad. I think it could be a little bit better, but not too bad. It does depict a older Carl. So going over the articulation for your Kreef Karga figure, he's going to give you a straight arm like so. He's going to give you an elbow bend that goes up about that far. You only get the single jointed elbow. He is going to give you a 360 all the way around, so you're good there. He gives you an excellent T-pose, so that is very, very cool. You have a twist at the elbow. You also have your twist in the wrist as well. You also have a up and down hinge in the wrist. Mine's a little stiff. As you can see, there is a up and down hinge in the wrist. And then for the left hand, again, there is a up and down hinge for the left hand as well. So very, very cool. So he's gonna give you a kick out that goes up about that far. It's gonna give you a knee bend that goes up about that far. Your Kreef Karga is gonna go back about that far. He has the single hinge knee, not the double. So he's only gonna go back about that far. Kicks out to the side about that far. Your Kreef Karga's widest stance is gonna be about that far, so that's very cool. You have a twist at the thigh. There's a twist at the thigh. There's also a twist at the knee as well. In the ankle area, he's gonna go down about that far, which is really cool. He's gonna go up about that far, which is awesome. You have the rocker as well. There's your rocker. In the ab area, he's gonna go down about that far, back about that far. He has a fairly decent range in the ab area. And then of course you have your left to right swivel. In the head area, he's gonna look down about that far, up about that far. Then you have your left to right, and you have the head nod as well. So very, very cool. Very, very awesome figure. Very happy to have this figure in my collection. And then also, I forgot to mention, I believe this can come off. You can basically slide it over his head. You're just gonna have to get this strap from around the arm. I believe if you take the arm out this way, you should be able to slide it over his head. I don't see anywhere where it unbuckles, but I'm not gonna try and slide it over his head. I don't have a need to remove the cape. I like the cape the way it is. But in case if you would like to have it removed, I believe you can remove it. You might need to be really, really careful because the cape is all one mold. There is no disconnecting strap for it. But if you're careful, you might be able to get it over his head and off of the figure. And then getting you a look at the weapons for your Kreef Karga figure. Very, very cool stuff. You have the wooden handles there and a very interesting looking weapon. I don't know if we've ever seen this particular weapon for a particular figure, but very interesting looking weapon. And just have a very basic gray with the little wood there. And you have nice little details on it, but not a lot of paint apps, but very, very cool. And those are your only two accessories for your Kreef Karga figure. So next up, we're gonna get a look at Krill. Let's get a look at our Krill figure. So getting you guys a look at Krill. Very, very nice figure. Very excited to have this figure in my collection. Been waiting for him for a very, very long time. So he is really, really cool looking. And you get a lot of detail on this guy. Nice buckle. You have a couple of work bags there on either side. You have very nice color patterns with the beige pants. And then you have the darker brown vest there. And then you have the backpack his weapon as well. And we're going to get to his weapon in just a moment. I just have a little slight question, I should say, about the weapon more than an issue. It's not so much an issue as it is a question with that weapon. And then you also have a very cool helmet, obviously, that comes with your Krill figure. And we're going to get a look at that helmet. Let's go ahead and pop this thing off because it is removable. And as you can see, there's your Krill figure with the helmet removed. And then getting you a look at the helmet itself. Really, really awesome. I wish the goggles were removable. So you can place the goggles over his eyes if you wanted to, just to give him a different look. But unfortunately, it did not give us that particular feature with this figure. So that's a bit unfortunate. And then of course you have his shoes, or boots I should say, at the bottom. And then getting you guys a better look at the face sculpt. So he has a really, really good face sculpt. Nice Ugnaught. And I hope we get more Ugnaughts in the 6-inch line. Specifically, the Ugnaughts that we saw in Empire Strikes Back. The worker Ugnaughts, that would be great in the 6-inch line. And now that we have this guy, I'm sure that they will be coming. So very, very cool. Love the scarf as well. And it is removable. I believe you probably have to remove the head to remove it, but it seems to be a piece that should be removable. It may even be attached to the backpack, actually. Yeah, it looks like it's attached to the backpack. So but even there, you can see the backpack kind of lifts up a little bit. So if you remove the head, you can probably remove the backpack and the scarf if you wish to do so. So for your articulation, your Krill is going to give you a straight arm like so, give you an elbow bend like so. Krill is going to give you a very, very nice T-pose. And incidentally, one thing I wanted to mention, the arms don't actually go fully straight. There's kind of a slight bend to them. I'm assuming that's due to the way that the Ugnaughts are made or constructed. They just have that slight bend in the arms where they can't fully extend them straight out. You have a twist at the elbow. You have your twist in the wrist there as well. There is a back and forth hinge that allows it to go back and forth in the wrist. Same deal with the left hand. There is a hinge, but not a lot of movement. Not a lot. Krill figure is going to give you a straight out kick like so. Your Krill is going to give you a knee high that goes about that high. He goes back about that far. He's going to give you a side kick that goes out about that far. Krill's widest stance is going to be about that far. Your twist at the thigh. You also have a twist at the knee as well. And then in the ankle, it goes down about that far, goes up about that far. You do have your rocker that goes back and forth. In the torso, it's going to go down about that far, not a lot of movement. Back about that far, again, not a lot of movement. Very tight range in the torso. And then your left to right. So you do have a left to right. Very tough for my figure, but there is your left to right. In the head area, he's going to go down about that far, looks up about that far. Then you have your left to right, and a little bit of the head nod as well. So really cool stuff with your Krill Ugnaught figure for the Mandalorian. Very, very cool. Accessories, you do have, as I mentioned, the helmet earlier, and then you also have his gun here, his shotgun. And my question, and it's a very nice looking weapon, it's kind of in an army green color, if you will. So you have a green wood-like material on the handle, and then a grayish metal for the rest of the gun, and then a greenish strap as well to match that wooden handle. So it's a very nice weapon. However, my issue with this weapon is, so you have Krill's trigger finger, which is right there. So with his weapon in hand, this was the best way that I could figure to put the weapon in his hand. However, the trigger finger does not reach down to the trigger, as you can see. And because you have that slight bend in the elbow, that's as straight as the elbow is going to get. So, I mean, in order to have him shoot straight, you would have him shooting straight like this with one hand, because if you extend him to lift his hand up, points the gun up towards the air and not straight. So in order to have him shooting straight, you got to kind of have the arm down at this angle, and now he's shooting at a straight angle. But again, you don't have that trigger finger in where the trigger needs to be. So that was the best way I could figure for him to use the gun. This particular figure was a little disappointing out of the package. I was having an issue with the cape staying in. And this was the figure that I was most excited about in this particular wave. So that was, again, very disappointing. So the cape kept falling out, and I kind of had to saw down the hole in the back where the cape goes in to make sure that that notch that's on the cape was getting in there. And I finally did get it to stay in there. I wasn't sure how secure it was, but it hasn't fallen off since. So I may have fixed the problem, but again, it was a little disappointing that initially that cape was not staying on. But it seems to be staying on fairly decently now. He does look great. It looks absolutely awesome. You have very nice detail, the chest plate, the boots, everything really, really cool. And then in regards to the face print, it's a fairly decent face print. Not too bad. I'm not sure if they could have done any better. It's very, very good. And then of course you see the Dark Saber there. There's your Dark Saber that comes with your figure as well. So he is really, really awesome. I am afraid to move the cape because I'm not sure if it's going to go back in. I don't want to be afraid to move the cape because I shouldn't be afraid to move the cape, but again, I'm not sure if it's going to go back in once I pull it out. So very, very cool looking figure. But in regards to what I did to the hole, I kind of had to saw. There's a little piece there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a little piece that's kind of blocking the hole there. And I think it's a part of this back piece here for the character's neck area. So I kind of sawed it down a little bit using a knife to adjust the hole a little bit. And in doing so, it seems as though the cape is a much better fit. But we'll see. I have yet to put it back in after initially readjusting that hole, so we'll see. But there you have your side weapon and holster, boots, very, very cool stuff. So for your articulation, your Moff Gidion is going to give you a straight arm like so. Going to give you a very, very cool elbow bend that goes back about that far. Of course, you do have the 360 motion as well. So your Moff Gidion is going to give you a very, very good T-pose. You have a twist in the elbow. You also have your twist in the wrist as well. There is a up and down hinge in the wrist, in the right hand wrist. For the left hand, it is a back and forth hinge, back and forth. In the leg area, your Moff Gidion is going to give you a very good straight kick like so. You get a knee high that goes up about that high and go back only so far. Your Moff Gidion is going to kick out about that far. Moff Gidion's widest stance is going to be about that far. Your twist is in the thigh. You also have a twist in the knee as well. In the ankle area, he's going to go down about that far, go up about that far. And of course, you do have a rocker in the ankle as well. In the torso, he's going to go down about that far, back about that far. You have your very good left to right, and a very nice range in the torso. So very, very cool. In the head area, he's going to go down about that far, up about that far, left to right, and a little bit of the head knot there. So very, very cool articulation with your Moff Gidion figure. Getting you guys a look at the Dark Saber. Very, very cool. Very nice. You have the very light edge that goes around the saber itself to give it that glow-like look. And then you have the black handle. Not much more paint apps than that, but very cool to have the Dark Saber in the 6-inch line. Very, very awesome. And then as I mentioned earlier, the cape, you have the red inside, black, the little notch that fits in the back of your figure, and then finally your Moff Gidion side weapon, side pistol with the scope. Very, very nice. Really no additional paint apps other than just a matte black over the full body of the gun, but still nonetheless a very cool accessory. Very, very. And then finally we have our biker scout with child from the Mandalorian. Very, very cool. He also comes with a very, very nice backdrop insert that comes inside of the packaging. So he is a very, very awesome figure and bike, and we're gonna get a look at this guy. So getting you guys a better look at our biker scout. Really, really cool stuff. Love the white bike. Lots of weathering and detail all around this thing. On the front of the bike is really, really awesome. Just very, very nice detail. Very, very nice. And obviously this thing should have gotten its own separate review, but since this is all Mandalorian themed, I wanted to keep everything together. So really, really awesome. And then of course the difference with this particular biker scout than any of the other ones that we've ever received is he comes with the child and the bag. It's very cool. It seems as though the bag would be removable, which is awesome. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it looks like it might be removable. So look at the back of the bike, and then also the stand that it comes on, which is really good, really awesome. And then for your biker scout himself, he seems to be very, very nicely weathered. I don't know if the camera is translating that properly, especially with the light. See if I can adjust that a little bit so you guys can see some of that weathering there. It's got like a very tannish weathering throughout the armor and the boots on the helmet. So that's really, really nice looking stuff there. Really, really nice. I'm gonna skip the articulation portion for this particular figure because I did do a review for the Scout Trooper, which is basically the same exact figure. And again, you have his pistol sitting there in his holster. And then also, this particular set comes with a target. And this is basically the cup that they were using to shoot at in the episode that this particular character was featured in. But this is a targeting item that you can use for your to depict the trooper basically missing his shots the way he was in that one episode of The Mandalorian, basically making it look like he can't shoot with this particular item. So there it is. Very cool. Very, very nice looking item there. So with your biker scout, you can have the bag closed if you like, or you can have it open. The clasp on the bag, they have small pegs that fit right in those holes there, and you can plug them up and either have the bag open as it comes presented in the box, or keep it closed, which is a very, very cool feature. And then of course with your stand, you have the nice swivel action where you can pose the vehicle any way that you see fit. So very cool, and pretty much standard with your speeder bike. So very, very cool stuff there, guys. All right, you guys, so there we have our review on our 4 figures here. Now we want to get our figures in a very cool diorama. So let's go ahead and get started. guys, so there you have it with your 6-inch Black Series Kruiil Moff Gidion Kreef Karga and your Mandalorian Biker Scout. Very cool stuff here, guys. I did have an big issue with our Moff Gidion figure. Just very disappointed with that figure, and I thought he was going to be the star of the show, but unfortunately the cape is absolutely awful. It does not stay in. I had to actually kind of tape it to the back of the figure. It just will not stay in place. Just very disappointed with that. And then with trying to get Moff Gidion to stand, it's just hard to get him to stand upright and not stand hunched over with the cape on. So every time you're posing it, kind of like he's an old man with the hump in his back and he's kind of hunched over. So again, just really disappointed with the Moff Gidion figure. I didn't have any type of issue whatsoever with the cape for the 3 1/4 size. It popped right in, popped right off with no problems. And it might just be this one particular figure and not a problem with the whole line of the Moff Gidion figures. I do have another Moff Gidion figure on its way. It actually should be here sometime this evening. So I will find out if the cape is an ongoing problem with the figure line itself, or if it's just this one particular figure. But again, very disappointed with that figure. However, the rest of the figures were absolutely wonderful. I am still just a little bit confused with Krill's weapon and how he should hold that weapon, even though I do believe I figured it out, but it is kind of a strange fit, kind of, because you can't really straighten the arm out. Kreef Karga is absolutely awesome. I love every single thing about Kreef Karga, no problems there. And then of course with the Biker Scout, again, no problems with that particular figure. Very awesome figure. And then of course you have your Biker Scout, which is again absolutely awesome. Love the weathering on the bike as well as the Biker Scout. And then of course you have the child with the bag, which is absolutely awesome. And then as you saw in the diorama, I was able to use that bag, take it off of the Biker Scout and use it for IG's 11 scene as he is rolling through Navarro. So really cool stuff with those 3 figures. Again, very disappointed with the Moff Gidion figure. We'll see once I get my other Moff Gidion if the cape is an ongoing issue with the whole line of the Moff Gidion figures, or if it's just this one particular figure. But again, very disappointed in that particular figure, guys. But let me know what your thoughts are in regards to all 4 of these figures. Have you picked up all 4 of these figures? Have you received your 6-inch Moff Gidion, and did you have the same issues that I had with the cape? Hopefully you did not, because it was absolutely frustrating. And then also, did you have trouble having him stand upright or stand up straight with the cape on? Again, I had a lot of trouble with the cape on and having him stand up straight. I had to have him in a hunchback position with the cape on, which is just really not a good look, guys. So let me know what your thoughts are in regards to the Moff Gidion, and if you had any issues with that figure. And then of course, any issues that you may have had with the other figures, or if you had a great and enjoyable time with any of the other figures, guys. Let me know and put those comments down below, guys. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And of course, guys, from the Father to the Son to the Obi-Wan Force Ghost, may the Force be with you always.